Hello there, Scummers.
Season 3, we're back, folks. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I'd much rather a short, just cut it off at the knees. Hello, everybody. We're back. Your favourite host, Nathan, is here. And some person who went and fought a badger is also
All right. Well, let's try that one again then. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. As always, I am what ChatGPT refers to as the comedy section of the podcast, Spamuel. And to my right, my current co-host and unlikely winner of most likely to kill Spamuel with a hammer. No, it's not Mrs. Spamuel. It is Nathan. Hello, Nathan. How are you, buddy?
I'm very well. That was a really good intro. And yes, Mrs. Samuel and I have spoken many times about that eventuality. We speak about other things, obviously, as well. But
she was upset about her being the runner-up again.
Yeah, she was. And she's constantly typing into ChatGPT, who's the funniest host. I'm like, you don't do a podcast. They're like, no, I don't care. Who's the funniest host?
So, carry it whole real quick.
Yeah.
No, wait, I'll come back to it.
That was early? Yeah, I was going to say.
No, stop. How you been, dude?
I've been busy with life, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Fortunately, but you went and I guess went over to England and caused a scene over there, and my life just got really busy. Doing heaps of hobby though, but it's mainly been just playing games, to be honest. Like,
excellent.
Trying to punch out some games of 40k. I've got the first time ever I'm going to a 2,000 point tournament in a couple of months from now. So it is a Ratcon,
yes.
Yeah, in Ballarat, here in Victoria, and I've never played a tournament at that level. And me being the total tactical genius that I am taking over 100 infantry models to this. So my opponents are just going to get maybe a half a turn in before we have to call it. So that is my plan to win my games. Just my opponent's just going, look, you win. Just don't bother me or my children ever again.
And the easy way for you to win that game is you move each model individually, but you give their full name and rank. Oh, so we're moving Epsilon Squad? All right, so Epsilon Squad. First up, here is Sergeant Dustin Leonard McCoy. We're going to move him forward. And then this one here is Private Shaggy Longbottoms. Yes, nope, sorry. No, I'll put you back down. This is Private Shaggy Longbottoms. We're going to move him forward. And
as the 2 days progress, like they develop further backstories. So Private Shaggy Longbottoms here, actually, he carries a melter gun. Now that melter gun, not too long ago, destroyed an entire enemy vehicle. So he's been awarded an Emperor's Cross.
I actually painted it on between the last game and this game, so you can see just real close and just jam it straight into their eye, because then when they're blinded, you can smash their models and be like, oh, mate, you can't park there.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Like, it's painted, but it's not put together. That's like a whole new level of letting yourself down.
Perfect.
You've disappointed yourself and the community. Yeah.
You've created a new meta.
Yeah. It's a hammer, a long-winded turn, and gaslighting your opponent. Get out there and do it, folks. You will be very, very successful. So, no, but on a serious note...
You are guaranteed to never lose a tournament ever again, because you will never be allowed to be playing another tournament. Yeah.
People just hate the meta. That's the problem.
I hate the meta.
But yeah, no, I've been just actively doing heaps of stuff, but it just feels like I just have no time for it, which is, I guess, the curse of the gamer at the moment, isn't it? You're just always like, I just wish I had just give me another day. Actually, I was listening to the radio not too long ago, and the DJ was saying, like, it's just like this idea that, like, next week everything will settle down. And that's what it feels like for my hobby. And he said that's like he's been his life for the last 20 years. Like, next week it'll settle down. Next week it'll settle down. You know, that's like with my hobby. It's like next week, if I just get this tiny window here, those goblins, you're in a lot of trouble. Paint-based trouble.
It's like when you go to the pub and there's a sign that says free beer tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. It's just not eventuating. But it's not a whinge. I'm actually enjoying how much hobby I'm doing and the ideas and the creativity. And I've just really started to get into some airbrushing since you've been away.
Really?
Yeah. It's one of my friends has like a ridiculous amount of skill with an airbrush, so he's been showing me a few things, and I think that's definitely going to be the next thing I really bring into my painting game, is getting that airbrush out and just going hammer and tongs with that. So, but that is me. How have you been? What have you been doing?
Not much, man. Just kind of boring, actually.
Oh.
Yeah.
Are you in drilling now, are you?
Yeah.
Because it's boring?
Yeah, well, so I lost 64% of my brain, and now I'm actually a really good driller. No, so I went on holiday, and I decided when I went on this holiday I would take my wife and children with me, and honestly, that was my first mistake. So, long story short, I took 2 children under 5 to Europe for a month, and I came back with a drinking habit and emotional trauma.
Oh, nice,
Yeah.
nice. So you got off easy.
Yeah.
Very good.
During the flight to and from the United Kingdom, I watched quite literally every episode of Peppa Pig. But I visited Peppa Pig World. What else happened? I went to 2 weddings. I went to a christening.
You went to 2 weddings?
I went to 2 weddings. Yeah. They let me go to 2 weddings.
What was the second one?
No, it was the same people. They got married twice. Because in England, and I didn't. So this is the Welcome to Underhive Lorekeepers, where we discuss the differences between Australian and British culture. If your wedding isn't like presided over by a priest, instead it's presided over by a celebrant. You have to get married at like a government house first. Then they do you're actually married before the wedding.
Oh.
So it's like a courthouse wedding, and then you have the wedding.
So you went to a shindig and a wedding?
Yeah, I went to a wedding and a shindig. But
Yeah,
weirdly
yeah,
enough,
yeah, right.
both times I was looking after the kids, so I didn't actually get to do anything.
But that's, I mean, obviously you enjoyed doing that because you're their father, and you know, it gives you great joy and happiness.
Yes, that is an excellent point, Nathan. I am their father, and I do.
She's standing behind you.
She is standing behind me. No, so I won't rag on my wife and kids too much. But my beloved daughter, the tiny Mother Superior, invented a great new game that she calls Hya, where for absolutely no reason she will just scream out Hya, and then karate chop someone, or something, or a total stranger on the tube, or a dog, or someone's lunch, and like it was amazing because she would explode into violence like a Goliath with a fresh pack of Crayola, like just explode and just start karate chopping things and like spin kicking. And she's 2.5, and you're like, where have you learned this? And so I'd go back to watching Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and be like, oh, I think I figured it out. But no, my trip was amazing. I love every time I go to England. I love it because it's just such a different vibe to everything. I got to spend time in England, then Ireland. I love Ireland. Ireland is basically just the coolest place in the world. I spent a week in Denmark with my brother. Interestingly enough, I meant to say this to you the other day. Do you know my sister-in-law's name is Meta?
Is it really?
It is. It's not spelt M-E-T-A, it's spelt M-E-T-T-E, but it's Meta. And I was just like, once again, I'm scared of the Meta because she's this Danish woman, and she's incredibly intimidating.
I thought you were going to go down the pathway of like, have you met her? Oh, no, not yet.
Of course I know her. You haven't even met her. I made those jokes a lot. She doesn't understand it. She called me an idiot.
So she understands that.
She understands me.
Right.
Yeah, and then so there was the whole holiday, and then like 2 days before I left, I got to go to Warhammer World, and the international fight tour really began at that point. Up until this point, the only sort of like hobby association I made, I had the absolute pleasure of meeting Roscoe from Goodest Radio, which was immediately cut short by my children causing an absolute scene in a pub, including one of the first games of Hyar.
I'd be concerned about the cultural appropriation by your daughter, but anyway, that's a different issue.
Because she mastered a spin kick before 2.5. She's basically one of those Buddhist monks you see doing like the stick fighting, or where they like dive through blocks of ice and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'll get her a stick. All right, good idea.
Yep. We should give her sticks. No. Rerail.
Rerail, yes.
But yeah, I got to go to Warhammer World, and it was quite surreal because I've been to Warhammer World a couple of times, but I've never gone there with the sort of like express aim of meeting so many people. Like, Chris and Graham, being the elusive badger, and Bernaquilla painting, picked me up from the train station, because basically the whole day was just this insane sort of convergence of the worst luck possible. My train was cancelled, so they sent me to a different train station to catch another train, who then denied my ticket. They're like, no, that's not a ticket for this train. And then I explained to the guy, listen, they've sent me over here, they've told me this. It's like, why are you going there? I'm like, I'm catching up with some mates, I'm going back to Australia in a couple of days. He's like, just be back here in 20 minutes, you can just get on the train, I'll fix it. I'm like, cool. I got on that train, which took me longer. The Badger and Bernaquilla picked me up from the train station. We get to Warhammer World, and then I just start meeting like these people that I've known online for years, who are like these hobby heroes of mine, like Chris Idden from Some City Radio, and then now Relentless Matt from Some City Radio. I met Dell from who is so many of these voices and characters who are these cornerstones of our community from Some City Radio. Dan Beresford, who it's in my opinion is, but also part of Some City Radio, despite the fact he keeps saying to me, "Stop saying that." This is my podcast, nerd. Shut up.
That's it.
Then like Pete Hazard Stripes, Bad Wolf Miniatures there, and this whole event was organised by the One Punch Orlok. Like, it was just I sort of said, oh yeah, I'm sort of going, I've been talking to these people, and he's just basically just said, shut up, you dumb idiot, I've got it sorted. And basically, on top of that, I immediately started picking a fight with Gaz, who was there through Dark Millennium, and I have no idea why I picked a fight with him, but he's just the loveliest dude in the whole world. And naturally, with my ability to pick fights with people over nothing, I just picked a fight with them, and Gaz, I love you, buddy. But, so the International Fight Tour, I played some games in Warhammer World on the Necromunda tables.
I'm assuming you won all of those games because you are the premier gang leader.
Well, let me explain it to you.
Yes.
So, also, before I go into this, I need to remember Fee, the partner of Craig, Bad Wolf Miniatures, was also there, and she was fantastic. She made fun of me almost immediately. I travelled 18,000 miles. It's fine. But my first game was against Chris, or the Elusive Badger.
The American Badger, yes.
No, I have a badge that proves he is in fact a British Badger, and I have something I'm calling our new mascot, being Timmy, the British Badger plush toy. He's right here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep.
That's amazing.
I love him. It's amazing.
He will definitely go to Instagram.
I will
That
put
looks
photos
amazing.
of this up on the Instagram. But so, first game. It was my Wrecker gang versus Badger's Corpse Grinder Cult.
Yep.
Now, Nathan, let me tell you, by the end of turn 2, this game was
begging
basically
you.
done.
Yes.
Through tactics, through just discipline and weight of attacks.
Good work. Smashed him. Just jumping up and down, jumping all around, just shooting him. Mate, I knew you had it in you.
That is exactly what you'd be thinking. I was a dominant force in my own downfall. Chris had smashed me to absolute bits. We started, so we were all coming in there with 4 miniatures at a total of 800 credits, right? So we were all going to town per mini.
Yeah.
And by the end of the second turn, I had 1 miniature left. I'd given him maybe a single flesh wound. Like, I was done, and he got me, tabled me. You know, first game, Spaniel's not doing great.
Yep. Okay. All right.
My second game against Relentless Matt. I played against his... What did he bring? I want to say Goliaths? No, he played something that also beat me. I was beaten very badly.
So how many games did you play?
Three.
Three. Okay, so the third game.
Third game.
Smashed him.
I teamed up with the One Punch Orlock, and we played against Graham and Craig, and we did much better because I just did everything that Tom told me to. He said, you should jump to here, and I said, I'm jumping to here. Once again, naturally being a complete fool, my first impulse is to immediately overcharge everything. If anyone who plays Wreckers or who doesn't play Wreckers, you can overcharge your jump packs. You don't have to, but you can. So naturally,
which means you did.
I did it every single time, and the sheer number of ones that I rolled, once again, was offensive. It was offensive. There literally aren't this many ones in a pool of ones, and I still rolled that many. It was amazing. I loved it. The entire crew, we had so much fun. Sort of bouncing between the gaming hall, Bugmans. But yes, no, the International Fight Tour was a great success. I was forced to leave the country several times. And yeah, the downside to going on holiday with your family and trying to fit in visiting a bunch of people in a different country is it gets really hard with the family. To those people I was unable to catch up with, I'm so sorry. I just wish I had more time. But, you know, my family really managed to suck the fun out of my holiday that I let them come on. You know.
What a wonderful sentiment.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Well said.
Yeah.
Right. Look, I mean, from the pictures I saw and the interactions I saw, it looked amazing. Especially that day at Warhammer World just looks so good. Maybe who knows, in the future at some stage we can get across to England as a duo and abandon families here. But we'll see.
That's the dream, buddy.
That's the dream. Abandoned families. That's the dream.
I believe there was an agreement that the winner of the Fight Tour battle between Badger and myself would declare the other person the victor and would acknowledge that their own defeat. And as soon as the elusive Badger gets his own podcast, I'm willing to do that for him. So until then, suck it, nerd. Nathan, season 3.
Yes,
we want to start
it's very exciting.
Thing good. We want to start this thing on a positive. So we've talked about all the negatives. Positives. We're doing good so far. So, Nathan,
I could hear the crickets, yes.
why don't we get into it? This has been a 20-minute intro. So, for those of you just joining us, we've given out the secret code words to win all of the competitions. And if you have missed them, you are unable to get into that. So, Nathan, all right, okay, stop. Re-rail. It's the first episode of the season. We have taken a turn. Okay. Shameless self-promotion. If you enjoy the show and you are interested in supporting the podcast, please shoot over to patreon.com/the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. We are 100% funded by the goodwill of our audience, though we do this for the love of our hobby. Each month we have Patreon-exclusive episodes, as well as competitions, polls on episodes, and other bonus content, such as our favourite recipes for skinned badger. If you are looking at another way to support us, get onto our social media, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. A like, comment, subscribe helps us to grow and get our particular brand of lore out into the world. All of the links are in the show notes, and don't forget to give us a 5-star review on your preferred podcast platform.
Further to that,
Yes.
I have created a LinkedIn profile for us, just in the chance that people want to employ us.
Wait, are we talking about career changes already?
Career changes. No, that's a big topic
Yes.
to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, you got the North and the South.
Yes. Add a West in there. Mix it up.
West Korea, really mix it up. No, okay, so...
What do you mean, no? We
season
have
3.
LinkedIn.
we have
don't.
LinkedIn.
We don't have LinkedIn.
Season 3.
Yes.
So Nathan and I had a really big discussion on what we wanted the first episode of the season to be. And,
Did we now?
Pardon?
Did we now?
Well, okay, we tried to, because we started on actual topics like, do we do a Gangs of Yesteryear? Do we talk about the Ashways Nomads? We still haven't touched on them. Do we talk about the guilds, criminal alliances? Someone was wanting to talk about layman rust tanks. But it
Don't start this new season with words like that.
Okay. Layman Russ.
Lehman Russ.
Then this last weekend was a pretty big event. So it was Necromunda 2025. And it just happened to be that it was the first time this event has happened that neither Nathan or myself have attended. And
Yes, quite sad.
because, bad things happen to good people. Nathan and I being the very best of people, we have bad things happen to us occasionally. So both of us had to work. But then something weird happened. So I have talked about one of our Patreons before. His name is Mike, but I call him the Spytreon. Mike attended his first Necromunda event, which just happened to be Necromunda. And at his first ever Necromunda event, with Enforcers of all gangs.
Enforcers? I did not know that bit.
Yeah,
Oh,
he
wow.
played Enforcers. Not only did he come second,
Holy moly.
but he got Best Sports. And the thing that really chaps my ass is he got Best Sports with the gang that I played the year I didn't get Best Sports. So that's not a conspiracy at all. Now,
That's perfect. Well done.
Mike is called the Spytreon because he joined our Patreon at the Caryatid Club level out of spite. If you are a member of our Patreon, you know our Caryatid Club members get to basically give us an episode, and we're going to do that episode for them, no matter what it's about. And Mike, because he's a good friend but a terrible person, wanted an episode about dogs.
Perfect. Great. Well done, Mike. This is ideal for our show because there are certain people in this duo, not mentioning any names in particular, who are, how should I put this delicately, deluded and stupid when it comes to understanding what is a good pet.
So we are going to start the new season on the lowest possible way. So everything is basically just going up.
Yeah.
kind of like America's national debt. It is just going to go up from here. So, Scummers, this is the episode on dogs in Necromunda.
And just as a special treat, whenever either one of us is not talking, we do have a dog whistle. We'll be blowing it. So it will attract dogs to you while you are listening to this.
Yes.
Enjoy.
Or deafen
Or definitely. Either way, let us know in the comments.
This opening has gone far too long.
Yeah.
Nathan, why don't you jump onto that first read?
Absolutely. Are you blowing the dog whistle?
I am.
Yes, right. Cool. Fantastic. Mankind has utilized canines for many millennia. From the earliest proto-humans living in primitive existence on ancient Terra, throughout the great expansion and colonization of the stars during the dark age of technology and beyond. Wherever humanity has gone, it has taken its trusty hounds. Over the millennia, canines have continually evolved, from careful breeding programs to enhance certain beneficial traits and reduce undesirable qualities to gen-hancing and cloning. Canines have in no way been excluded from procedures mankind has proven ready and willing to implement upon itself. On Necromunda, dogs are no less common than anywhere else in the Imperium, though it must be said that they often provide a food source more readily than they provide their traditional roles of companion, guard, or hunter. However, they do still have loyal friends amongst the people. Guilders breed and keep large hounds to protect their caravans and holdings, and House Orlock in particular takes great pride in rearing the dogs as guards and fighters. The dogs of House Orlock show great diversity in type, from the sleek, alert watchdogs they raise to guard their mine workings and storehouses to the stocky, bull-like fighting dogs they breed for sport. Orlock gangers are frequently accompanied by hounds. What's more, to the outsider, there is a strange sentimentality shown by Orlocks towards their dogs, and it is not uncommon to see hounds sporting expensive cybernetics to compensate for past injuries or illness.
Before you say a single thing, you read there, they often provide a food source more readily than they provide the traditional roles of companion, guard, or hunter.
Yep.
Have you seen that, like that internet meme from like the early 2000s of the dash hound, the puppy in the hot dog bun?
Yes. Is that what you're imagining?
That's all I can imagine. just this Goliath looking at it and be like, is hot dog?
It's not hot, but it is dog.
He goes to bite it and just starts licking his face, and he's like, oh, I see you've played E.T. Licky before.
Yeah, right. That was one of the highlights I was looking at. Yeah, look, I mean, that was the key thing that I picked up on there as well, is that, and I think it's beyond the realm of Necromunda. It's everywhere. You know, if you're talking like the local Astra Militarum regiment or so forth, when the corpse starts running low, they're not simply sitting there going, oh, well, nothing to eat here. They're going to the local patrol and saying, what have you got spare? Or can we use one of your dogs for a special scouting mission that they're most certainly not going to come back from, but they're going to be delicious on?
Think of every dystopian or post-apocalyptic TV show, movie. I'm talking like The Walking Dead, Revolution. What was the one on the train? Snowpiercer.
Snowpiercer, yeah.
There was that one from years ago. Anything starring Jennifer Lopez. Basically, when society hits that certain point where it doesn't matter where the protein is coming from as long as you're getting it. It's like, you know, their rationale is very different to ours. We see dogs, we see pets, we see companions, we see guards, and, you know, that sort of thing. The right person at the right time in a place like Necromunda, they're seeing a dog and going, oh, that's 3 meals right there.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah, absolutely. I'm sick of eating rat. This ain't for me no more.
Yeah, it's just a big rat with a waggly tail.
Yeah, Yeah, exactly. And it may provide some sort of companionship. It may be nice to me, but guess what? I don't eat nice.
You mean companionship to this barbecue sauce? But I
So,
also love that it focuses on the Orlocks specifically because I want to say the first dog we saw in possibly Warhammer 40k, to my memory, was in sort of modern 40k was the Orlock gang.
no,
It
there
was
was
Slate Medina and Macula.
no. Years and years and years and
No,
years
no,
and
no, no.
years ago.
Years ago, like you had the Arbites dog, you had the
Yeah.
Inquisition, yeah. But like, think about it. In let's say since the sort of specialist game drop off of the early 2000s,
Yep.
you have not seen dogs. Like you may have seen Xenos or demons, etc., but you have not seen dogs until Macula came along with, I believe, Gangs of the Underhive.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, the only one that was there was the Games Day miniature that had
The
the
Games
Arbite.
Day Enforcer. Yes,
Enforcer, yeah,
yes,
with the
I
thing.
have him.
Yeah, I have him as well, thanks to you.
Yeah.
So, I stole your one. No, I didn't. I didn't.
I was going to say, no, you didn't. Didn't we both go to Games Day?
We did. Yes. Yes. Right. So that was the most recent, like sort of say pre N17. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can't think of anything else. Obviously, there was dogs and so forth in Mordheim and but in 40k, I can't think of a single one that like I'll instantly I just go to you got to think like Astra Militarum. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's nothing there. I mean, if you're going to push it and say wolves count as dogs, but we're not talking that.
They
like,
don't. No.
no, they don't. No.
No, they don't.
When you try to tighten this episode up, you're just like, I'm
trying
not
to-
talking about wolves either, mate.
We are talking about dogs on Necromunda, all right?
Actually, do you know what? I have a great joke, right? About
Okay.
it's not a derail. You're a derail, right? So this family go to the local zoo, local Necromundan zoo. There we go, themed for
Yep,
the
okay.
episode. Go to this local Necromundan zoo. Only has one animal in there. They're really disappointed. It was a Shih
I know
Tzu.
this joke. It was a dog, a small dog. Yeah, it was a Shih Tzu.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's still G plus because you're just talking about a dog breed.
I'm just talking about a dog breed. Exactly.
So, dogs on Necromunda, we're obviously already mentioned Macula, the Cyber Mastiff, owned by Slate Medina, leader of a House Orlock gang called the Sump Dogs. Ironically, they have a dog, so it's Sump Dog. It should be the gang.
Wait, Sump Dog.
Yeah, the Sump Dog.
I think one of them becomes a millionaire, actually, from that. I'm not 100% sure.
The Sump Dog Millionaires.
Yeah.
Oh, gang idea.
Just kids on a question. Oh, actually, no, they'd be the ones that the Orlocks abuse. The
Drudges.
The grudges, yeah.
Drudges, yeah.
Trying to win some sort of stupid Orlock questionnaire. I've never seen Slumdog Millionaire, so I'm not too sure how it goes, but
I have no idea. I think he won Who Wants to Be a Millionaire.
yeah, that's what I think it is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'd be like that, but for Necromunda.
Yeah. So we obviously talked a lot about Cyber Mastiffs in our, I think in a couple of episodes. In the Orlock episode, we've mentioned them. I believe we talked about them in the Flora and the Fauna
We
episodes.
did. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
And I know we actually talked about this next one in our Cal Jericho episode, because Cal Jericho owns a Cyber Mastiff by the name of Wotan, who was actually given to him by his sister. Then you have the Dio60K13, who I'm classing as a Cyber Mastiff, despite being a hard case Cyber Mastiff, who was actually a former hunting dog of the Lord of House Orlock. Interesting side fact, invented by a Van Saar Archaeotech.
Wait, so the dog was created by the Vansar?
Yeah. So Do60 was one of 13 cybermastiffs created by the Vansar architect von Buren, and actually, sort of like taken above and beyond the regular levels of cybermastiff. Unfortunately, the only one of those 13 left is Do60.
Oh, yes, yeah. No, because
Yeah.
we have spoken about this particular
Yeah.
doggy. We should have just
Basically.
clipped together all of our old episodes and done the dog episode like that.
Oh, we could do a clip episode.
Yeah.
Just different hairstyles.
Yeah.
Just
a
different,
throwback and like different levels of recording and all this kind of stuff.
just how nasally I get depending on when I'm screaming about either caryatids or the Welsh.
Yeah. Do
Yeah,
the Welsh have dogs?
Pardon?
Do the Welsh have dogs? I don't know if they do.
Welsh national dog. The national dog of Wales is the Welsh Corgi.
Oh, okay. Real killer then. Good stuff.
And on top of that, you have, I'm going to throw this one in there, the RVR, Rantel Class Venatus Reclamator, is a type of cybermastiff used by the Adeptus Arbites. I'm only throwing that one in there because we know that in previous iterations of Necromunda, the Arbites or Arbites, or Arbos, if we're going to say it correctly,
yes,
were a genuinely playable gang.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, those are just like the famous, do we call them famous dogs of Necromunda? But I imagine every flea-bitten, dirty, crusty Cawdor has a dirty, flea-bitten, crusty dog to accompany it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I mean, when you look across the gangs, something like Escher, we know they're definitely the cat orientated type, but it wouldn't go astray to have them with a dog in their ranks and so forth. So, I think dogs on Necromunda, I think would be a more commonplace. You know what I mean? Like I think you would see them a lot more. And it actually, in saying that, I think it would be cool to have like gang mascots. I know it sort of begins to step away from the combat element of the game, and it's sort of a little bit more of a quirky side aspect to it. But I think that would be a really cool thing to have. Orlocks with a sort of your standard sort of mastiff type looking thing, and Goliaths with obviously Chihuahuas would make total sense.
Weirdly enough, I would love to see just these absolute hulking Goliaths with these teeny tiny little Chihuahuas.
Yeah, little handbag dogs. Yeah.
Yeah, a great example of this is my father. So, people who know my dad's about 6'4". He's a massive man. My dad is Maori and he's covered in tattoos. He's like 140 kilos of angry, shaven-headed, heavily tattooed man. And for many years, he had a dog named Marley, who was a tiny little Jack Russell. And you'd see my dad, and he'd be at the dog park, and my uncle would be there, and my uncle is not as big as my dad, but heavily tattooed, military veteran, even in his 60s. Like, my Uncle Ron is jacked.
Yeah,
and he's got this, once again, tiny little dog, and their dogs are running through the park. You see, like, my dad and my uncle pick up their dogs with these tiny little things, and you're just sort of like, have you robbed a small girl of her pet? Like, what is going on?
Yeah. No, but that
I'd
does
love
happen.
to see Goliaths with that.
It seems to happen all the time. Like the big lads seem to have these tiny little dogs that they take care of. But look, I think in a place like, especially like Necromunda, okay, we got the lore and so forth, and we see dogs mentioned and so forth, but they're not a critical key part of the lore. They're not a critical key part of the environment of creating something there. A lot of animals are not. You know, when we talk about ambles and so forth, yes, they absolutely are, because they provide a threat. They provide a protagonist in a way to story arcs and so forth. But the dog is like, you know, the supporting actor of the cast in a way.
Yeah.
So I guess we don't see that expanded upon. We don't see that taken into the next level in Necromunda. But I believe that you would see them a lot more than what is highlighted in any sort of novels or any house of books. I think it's not really reflected upon, because, and there's definitely gangs there, and there's definitely noble houses there that would not take on an animal or a pet with I don't know, that they would just deem as like dirty or unclean or whatever the case might be. But I think in the day-to-day workings and livings of Necromunda, I think you'd probably see a lot more dogs than is alluded to within all the readings and information that we are able to gather.
See, but that's the thing. Like, anyone can get a dog. Hack Cyber Mastiff's like 100 credits in the trading post.
Yeah.
I know they're illegal. I want to say illegal 10 or 11. But they've got the... it's like the special rule. It's like hacked, or because they're stolen. They're basically stolen from Orlocks, and glitchy is the special rule.
Yeah.
And it causes them on a D6. They have the insane condition. But you don't have to go that way. Like, I'm a big fan of the Necromunda giant rat. Everyone knows this.
Yep.
You can get 0 to 3 of them. They're 50 creds each, and they're just super common. Like, anyone can get them, right? Model tiny chihuahuas and run them as Necromunda giant rats.
Yeah, there you go.
Or
And
tiny corgis for your Welsh gang.
the leakers. They work
The
on
leakers.
But that's what I mean. Like, you look at something like the giant rat and the spider and all that type of stuff. They are things that you're going to be able to quite easily put into a story arc straight away. Places
Absolutely.
teeming with rats, and then there's giant rats, and it's it's a whole level of horribleness. But if it's dogs, there's almost like yes, very much you could go down the path of a hunting pack, but dogs sort of instantly indicate that there could be some sort of domestication of these animals, whereas you're not going to domesticate a giant spider, you know what I mean? Or if you wanted to domesticate a rat, goodbye to your stores, because once it starts getting busy, it's going to be 1 million rats in 6 months. So that's the other thing. It could be rabbits in Necromunda, but it's not a rabbit episode. So we're not going to talk about that.
Well, we do have some other type of dogs we can talk about here. So, for as long as mankind has utilised canines for hunting and companionship, it has used them to guard and protect. In enforcing the laws of Lord Helmore, canines are an invaluable tool, one that cannot be corrupted by the temptation of power or bribed by the lure of wealth. They've obviously never heard of smackos. Their loyalty lies entirely with their masters, and their dedication is unswerving. As a matter of course, the canines that serve along the Paladin forces of Necromunda are heavily modified brutes, routinely fitted with armour to protect their vital organs, and upgraded with bionics to enhance their performance. The nature of such enhancements varies, from advanced sensory arrays that could be tailored to the role of watchdog or hunting hound, to combat upgrades such as iron jaws and razor-edged fangs. It is these combat modifications that are seen most widely in the Underhive, and the gangs of Necromunda have rightfully learned to fear the deployment of hard-case cyber mastiffs on their turf. Hear me out.
I'm about
Instead
to.
of a cyber mastiff, like hard-case cyber mastiff, hard-case cyber hedgehog.
Do you know that's actually quite terrifying? Now, just set yourself in Necromunda for a moment, and you the lights are flickering. The overall ambience is quite terrible. The overall lighting is quite poor, and you hear this scratching and scuttling, and you're just like, oh, that's just part of the normal sounds. And then you see a shadow just scatter off into the distance. You're like, hang on, I'm not used to seeing little scuttly, and then it suddenly is on your left-hand side, a little scuttle, and you see the flashes, like it's just a dark, and it's pointy and sharp and jagged, so you're thinking it's just the light playing tricks on your eyes. And,
It's my daughter.
yeah. Boop, boop, boop. Your little senses going off. I'm telling you, it's right on top of us, man. Daddy, no. But yeah, anyway, a hedgehog coming straight at you with an iron jaw, obviously, as well. Just a tiny little one. Like, it's definitely going to give you the nastiest nip ever, but it can do quite a bit of damage to a toe or finger.
Hard case cyber wombat.
Oh, just a mobile rock.
That's game over.
Yeah, it's game over. That thing runs at you, and it flips your Ridge Runner. That's it. Yeah. See you later.
Okay. People don't understand how terrifying wombats actually are. Like, if it comes down to running one over, like if it runs out in the road in front of you, if it comes down to running one over or driving through a fence, you pick the fence.
Absolutely. I know a bloke who tore his axle out after he hit a wombat. Hit the wombat, tore the axle, car abandoned in the middle of the road at 2 a.m. in the morning up a mountain. Fantastic. Thanks for nothing. And the wombat, he said the wombat scuttled off but died, but, had a sleep, for those who don't want any animal cruelty on our show. Had a big, long sleep. But yes, they are horrendous to hit. But let us move back to the doggos. In that read, it's like one that cannot be corrupted by the temptation of power. I'd love to see a dog corrupted by the temptation of power, more like a Scooby-Doo type-esque dog in Necromunda, who's just like, ruh-roh, I know there's money to be had here. Ruh-roh.
Just it's they've captured an Inquisitor, and the two Goliath thugs have dragged him into the office. He's battered and beaten, and it's like, we found him, boss. And this dog, this chair spins around at a desk, and it's a dog patting a cat.
Yeah. That'd be brilliant. And the Goliaths are just like, this is the smartest man we've ever met.
Yep.
It's a dog. Well, this is the smartest man we've ever met. Righto.
The dog's got like a bionic voice box attached to to the collar.
Yeah.
And it's just like, put him where there's no walkies ever again. It puts like a muzzle on the Inquisitor, the cone of shame.
Yes, absolutely. Oh my god, this is a gang idea and a half. Like, you just, I would say something like Redemptionists, right? And rather than self-flagellation or so forth, they just wear cones of shame, but like it's all burning around the top of it.
I'm picturing someone as a joke dressed up a dog in Redemptionist's robes.
Yeah.
It escapes and somehow takes over a Redemptionist gang. And they rip and tear their way through entire sections of this hive. Everyone's like, no one can stop the Goodest boys.
Yeah.
Someone, please stop them. And every time a gang goes up against them, the dog just does the tongue out and the tail wags. They're like, who's a good boy? And the dog rips their throat out.
Yeah, exactly. And sets them on fire with its
sets them on fire.
Combi flamer that it has strapped somewhere. Combi flamer tail.
It's one of those citronella collars, except he barks and it shoots flamethrower.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, my point was this temptation. Like, actually, no, do you know, in saying that, it reminds me of a story many years ago. a guy I used to work with, he ended up owning a police dog, right? And he said that thing was so well trained, nobody else could feed it. And not because the dog would react poorly, it's because it wouldn't eat the food. Like, you could give it the tastiest bit of red meat ever, and this dog just wouldn't touch it unless he fed the dog. Because
Really?
Yeah. And it would just, if he said, like, sit and wait, it would just sit and wait. That's it. It would just not do wouldn't do anything without a command. So it sort of actually does make sense that, it'd be very, very hard to tempt these dogs. And do you know what? This beggars another question as well. Would psychers be able to manipulate or influence a dog? What do you reckon?
Yes.
Yeah? No. Okay, so how do you see that happening?
So, let's be honest. Dogs, much like dog owners, are simple creatures. And you can, if you're able to manipulate a mind like a human's mind by influencing, it's the big three, what they fear, what they want, and what they need. If you can put fear into someone's mind, it's going to make them either unwilling to fight you or unwilling to defy you. If you can put what they want into their mind, that drive of it's temptation, it's pushing them, or what they need is, you take away the concept of fear. So they're then willing to throw themselves, face first into a bunch of corpse grinders to stop, them getting to you. You're giving them that the lack of fear, the drive that wasn't necessarily there. It would be much less difficult to do that to a mind like a dog.
I think it could be. I think because if you've got a dog that is in probably more loyal than a human, because it almost like this sense of what's the term I'm looking for when you so almost like this sense of self-preservation, right? That almost seems like a forgotten element within the dog, you know what I mean, or it's something that has been pushed out of them with the right amount of training and focus and whatever the case might be. So the dog becomes, a weapon, and let's assume the dog has the same amount of self-preservation that, say, an arbo would have. So an arbo is willing to to lay down their lives no matter what. So I think it would be harder to affect a dog psychically than, say, an Orlock ganger or an Escher ganger or somebody along those lines, who has all these myriad of different objectives and goals and outcomes that they're looking for from whatever conflict they're currently involved in, but more so in the greater picture, whereas the dog is, I guess, more limited, more simple in the sense that I have one task. I'm almost sort of thinking like Ogren thinking within the dog. Do you know what I mean? Where the dog sits there and just like, no, my job is to guard this area, so I guard this area. And I'm talking about the cyber mastiffs. I'm talking about the dogs that are conditioned for the more difficult aspects of life on Necromunda, not just your common, I guess, street dog, you would call them.
No, 100%. But what's to say a psychic just doesn't put the image in a dog's head of, this ganger's face, enemy. This ganger's face, an instance of pain. It just you're just forcing the thoughts into the dog's mind. No different to how you do it to a human.
Yeah, I see that. I just feel like they would be a harder nut to crack. Yeah, obviously that, or just like ignite them with smite or something. You're still going to get affected by a psyker that way. Yeah, right. So anyway, obviously they can't be bribed and all the rest of it, very much like humans can be. So the element...
6-pack of chicken nuggets, a dog will do anything you tell it to.
Okay, fine. I'm going to get a 6-pack of chicken nuggets and I'm going to make a dog write our next episode.
I paid $3, a 12-pack of nuggets, and a small fries to write this episode.
Oh, I can tell. Yeah. So, anyway, the type of dog that we're talking about in this environment is, they're not getting bribed. They become in at this level, at this component, they become a tool. They become a just another arsenal within the Palanite enforcers or the Arbites or whoever's got access to these particular, I guess, Helmore approved dogs. I would look at them as like, almost like a grenade, that it may be a one-time deal, but you'll be able to send that dog into a combat situation, and it may take down 1, 2, depending on how it goes. I've never been attacked by a dog, so I wouldn't know. But it may only be a one-shot deal with it, but that's fine because you can repair them up and so forth. And that brings me furthermore to the point about the fact that these dogs are wearing armour. And I guess if you want to look at a real-world example of it is the hunting dogs that people use to go hunt, I think feral pigs or something like that. Those things are, the way they're armoured up, the way they're geared out, I think, bar the cybernetics and the other technological enhancements, would be something similar to what you would see within the dogs that are operating within the Palanite forces. But and one last point, I will stop rambling on. One last point is, you just can't do that with a cat because they're useless.
Fair. So the one sort of famous Palanite enforcer cybermastiff in this case is KB88, and is actually the dog of Scrutinator Primus Sir Valen. And I believe we talked about her in our Enforcers episode. But also the hard case cybermastiffs are looking at getting a new kit with the next wave of Enforcer releases.
Oh, that is true.
I'm really looking forward to seeing them.
Yeah, no, they're an element, I think, that get added to the Enforcers that just help them be a little bit different. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But in saying that, there are other gangs there that can lean on animals. Looking at you, House Cordor. But I guess we'll go into our next part of our read. Yeah. And
we really just need to see the deployment of the hard case cyber wombats.
Mate, perfect. I could not imagine anything better. Hard case cyber. You don't need anything else. You just affix a servo skull.
Combat wombat.
Combat wombats. And affix a servo skull with an auto gun attached to the servo skull. Like a little bit of auto tracking on it, and just let it lump around the Underhive. Just pinging people left, right, and centre. You'll eventually kill a Space Marine with enough combat wombats.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you read us the last type of dogs on Necromunda?
Scabby dogs. Wild animals inhabit the Underhives, and just like humanity, have not been untouched by their environment. Scabby dogs are like the scabbies themselves, in that they are twisted and degenerated from their natural state, and also, much like the scabbies, they are ruthless survivors. Packs of these dogs prowl the Underhives in search of weak prey, and can be a terror to unarmed communities, though they can also provide the vital function of consuming the dead in an environment with no interest in funeral rites. Occasionally, a scabby leader will befriend a pack of these wild dogs and bring them into battle, although this level of domestication is the lowest sort, and its loyalty is entirely up to the dog remaining fed. So this is sort of what I was talking about before, that there's definitely dogs out there, and this is the dogs that have gone feral. These are the ones that have been, I guess, left to breed, do whatever they want to do, and they have gone, like, I guess, rogue, for use of a better term. Now, They would be driven further down out of the hive. Imagine if there's, it's just like any modern community. If you've got roaming bands of dogs, people are going to drive them away from the streets, away from the more civilized areas. And so these dogs are going to find an area where they can survive better. It's not even about acceptance. It's about understanding how they need to survive. And that is picking off the weak, picking off the the dead, I guess, and gnawing down on that, because that's all they're really looking for at the end of the day. These aren't the trained elite dogs of the Palanite enforcers. These are just pack animals hoping to survive, very much like the rats and so forth. So these would then, I guess, gravitate to those areas where security is not as good, hygiene's probably not as good, safety's not as good, and the people in those areas would suddenly become very, very vulnerable to roam. They're almost like wolf packs in, like, ancient times, I guess, or even in some parts of the world, even now, where wolf packs are a credible threat.
I lost 3 apprentices just last year to roaming wolf packs. But what you said before, these were the dogs that were left out. These were they've come with various fleets and traders, or they've been there since, the golden age of technology, and they've expanded through and they've been there. But, you mentioned before the Orlocks, they have multiple breeds of dogs for different reasons. Scavvy dogs and the sort of dogs pushed down to those lower rungs of the Underhive, I picture are proper mutts by any definition. They would just be there would be absolute bitzers, There would be no two of them would look alike in any way, shape or form. You'd have dogs having multiple litters, because I don't believe Underhivers spay or neuter their pets. And there would just be a constant cycle of breeding and birth, death, consumption. Like you said, the weakest are going to be eaten. There's going to be fights, and there's someone's going to be consumed, whether it's the dog or whether it's what they're fighting or whether it's each other. But I also would think this would be great to see other animals portrayed as dogs. Like we joked about it before with Necromunda and giant rats and that. But this is great. Like, especially in the idea of scavies, they're not just going to have dogs. They're going to have, we've talked about foxes or mutant animals or mayhaps some type of shaved armoured badger. Like,
no,
why
but
not?
Well, why not to badgers? There is a good example. Why not to badgers? We all know who we're talking about. Look, I do agree with you. Why not to other forms of animals? And I think it allows the opportunity to, just from a modelling point of view, to be able to explore the idea of what other animals could live in, near, or around scabby communities. You know what I mean? By being able to take that level of mutation and saying, okay, well, what's that mutation? It's providing scales to the humans. So why would you not go for a scaled up? I don't know. I need to think of an animal. I can't think of an animal.
Bear.
Yeah, there we go. Why would you not go for a scaled up bear or a wolf? I guess very similar to a dog, actually, or some other animal that you could deem could possibly be domesticated, maybe not needing a whole range of space for it to operate, and then why couldn't it have a tentacle? Actually, speaking of these things, it sort of highlights the fact that, Chaos Hounds would be perfect as scabby dogs. Getting those miniatures and running them as a scabby dog pack would look really, really cool, I think. And then you could just go wild with the mutations on them, because, you not necessarily have to represent what the extra tentacle does or something like that. The dog probably doesn't have the cognitive sense to understand how to use that extra appendage any more than it does its own mouth. So it's not necessarily gaining an advantage of it. It's just that if that's the closest part to its enemy, it's going to attack with said tentacle or claw or whatever the case might be, just as it would its mouth, and wouldn't have that sort of calculating, critical thinking that a human would have to say, well, I'm going to wrap my tentacle around their sword arm and use my actual arm with my sword to cut off their sword arm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just going to think tentacle close, slap, slap, slap. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a dog. So.
Well, that sort of that sort of leads us there. I mean, I think a lot of the dogs within 40k sort of imperial society would really fit to that. I think the only other ones I can really think of are there's the battle mutts that like you get one in the rattling kill team. You know, they're little pugs and that sort of thing. And there's old Aximilian. The little, is it a Doberman? It's with the rogue trader.
Oh
The Euclidean Star Striders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of my favourite miniatures, actually. It's such a cool little dog because it's got a little bit of armour on it.
Yeah.
And nothing else. Like, there is literally nothing else. Like, you could take that dog, shave back the armour a little bit, and it doesn't belong in a 40k or Necromunda style setting anymore. It belongs in whatever setting you want, really, because there's just nothing going on with it. It's just, and I will say, I painted that whilst painting the Star Striders, and it was so nice to paint something so different. It was just like, oh, cool, I'm painting up all these, Star Striders and all these different types of miniatures and so forth, and then you've got the Voidsman. And just to paint something that wasn't humanoid was just actually, like, really cool. And it wasn't, like, it's not like a Tyrannid or anything like that where it's ultra aggressive or anything. It hasn't got big claws. It's just a very simple, nice dog. And that's definitely, I will be getting the rattlings for that reason as well. For the Battle Mutt. He's just cool. Just a cool little addition. And this is something I was sort of mentioning earlier. I really want to see that pathway taken, that and 40k does it beautifully, because these items become, or these animals or whatever the case might be, become tokens on the battlefield. And there's almost a case for that in Necromunda as well, that you could have something that's part of your gang that's just a token, and it has a one-time use or whatever the case might be. It might be just like, if you've got, maybe not have it so that you have visual range to it, but if you've got it in your gang, it applies X, Y, and Z, bonuses or negative effect. Very much like if you have a Whisper Merchant, you're not necessarily going to use it in the game, but it does provide a great amount of bonuses outside of the actual battlefield.
Yeah, I like that. That's it. All right, there you go. Mike, there's your dog episode, buddy. And now we're going to sit here in silence for the next 40 minutes. Because this is going to be a full-length episode.
I can hear the dogs howling at the moment at the shortness of this episode. She's not good.
Do you want to talk about some other dogs then, I guess? I mean, do you want to expand our horizons beyond Necromunda? Maybe there are some other dogs in Warhammer 40k we could discuss. Maybe starting off with the glorious Fenrisian wolves. Now, I know there are no wolves on Fenris. I knew you were going to say it. I got really annoyed at you because you mentioned Fenrisian wolves before, and I'm like, nope, they don't count. Obviously, there are not a lot of dogs on Necromunda, but we've talked about 40k stuff before, and we're going to talk about 40k stuff now. Fenrisian wolves are unlike any other wolf. They are the top of the food chain on the harsh world of Fenris and are among the most cunning and dangerous predators in the galaxy. The sheer diversity of Fenrisian wolves is enormous. In fact, adult wolves can reach the size of horses, the greatest approaching the size of a snow lion, rhino armored carrier, or a battle tank. Now, this is obviously not just discussing your regular type of wolf. Fenrisian wolves, for those who don't know, have a lot of different types. I think we're going to touch on 3 different types here. So, Nath, why don't you tell us about the first 2?
So, there's the common Fenrisian wolf, the most common species found on Fenris, but like still a deadly species. I have noticed that on Fenris they don't have any cats either because they are deemed basically useless. So
There are no cats on Fenris. Just
There are no
the
cats.
same. Yeah.
Doesn't have the same ring. There are no cats on Fenris. Good. Wolf's got them. That's what's supposed to happen. So, and then we have the black-maned wolf. The hulking black-maned wolf is as tall and muscular as a warhorse. Their jaws can exert as much pressure as those of an ice shark, and they are capable of hunting the largest prey through the thickest blizzard. Their anatomy is similar to that of the common Fenrisian wolf, but their heads are proportionately larger and their teeth more pronounced. They are usually only seen in the dead of winter when their packs descend from the mountains into the land of the Fenrisians to feed. Fenrisians refer to attempting impossible acts as taming a black mane, a saying that stemmed from the wolf's famously intractable nature, although they have been known to accompany the most celebrated wolf lords of the space wolves into battle. In Fenrisian myth, the black manes serve in the afterlife as minions of Morkai, the two-headed guardian of the gates of death. According to legend, one who crosses into the afterlife with a black mane at his side will never truly die. The many tombs within Krakgard, the funeral mount of Vilka Fenrika, are often lined with the skulls of the largest breed of Fenrisian wolf.
You sounded so Australian just then. The Vilka Fenrika.
Fenrika.
Like, imagine Steve Irwin on Fenris.
Yeah. Oh, so this is the Vilka Fenrika. Oh, look at that. What a beautiful looking thing here.
Look at the size of this black mane.
Yeah.
They're actually the funeral mount of the Vilka Fenrika. Now I'm going to wrestle it. I've accidentally beaten up the alpha, and now I'm king of the pack. Which, yeah, is weirdly enough.
Yeah, go on.
What Lehman Russ did. He beat up a bunch of wolves, and then beat up a bunch of thunderwolves, and basically became king of the wolves.
Yes. Yeah. I think so. Oh, yeah, he did
No,
too,
he did.
didn't he? Yeah, he did too. Yeah. Sorry, I thought you were... I have Ragnar Blackmane in my head, and I was like, did he do that? No, he didn't. It was Lehman Russ. And then said, I'm going to make a tank. Yeah, very clever.
Yeah.
And ended up making a Rogel Dawn, which just doesn't make sense.
Super weird.
Yeah. I will say one thing, though. It does mention ice sharks. Like, that is terrifying. That is terrifying. Yeah. I hate sharks. And the idea of, like, a giant space ice shark is sends shivers up the spine, and not because it's an ice shark. But, anyway, the Fenrisian... Oh, well, I guess, you know what? Before we talk about the Fenrisian wolves in total, probably should do the next one, and then we can compare the lot.
Well, we actually have two sort of call-outs for the sort of the common or the black-maned wolves. There's the cyber wolves, who are very similar to our cyber mastiffs from earlier. They're wolves that have been cybernetically augmented, whether it be due to injury or the Iron Priests themselves just deciding, let's cut off a leg and make it faster. Let's, remove the jaw and give it a robotic jaw with razor-sharp teeth, etc., etc. And they're often sort of like sergeants for wolf packs. And then we mentioned Lehman Russ earlier, and he has Frecky and Gary, which is Fenrisian for fierce and cunning. And they were two Fenrisian wolves who would actually go everywhere with the Primarch. I believe they were... and there's going to be a Space Wolf fan somewhere who's going to correct me. I believe they were sort of part of his pack from when he was sort of discovered by humanity on Fenris.
I think so too, but I don't know enough about Lehman Russ because
you like good Primarchs?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I knew you were a fan of Perturaba.
Lorgar. Yes. Lorgar.
Lorgar. No. I haven't read about the Space Wolves in years.
Yeah. I used to know a lot about them actually back in the day because that was my brother's army. So we back in the day, you'd have very limited resources. You just have your army books, and we pretty much had the Imperial Guard and the Space Wolf Army book when we first started. And
Both of you had one lemon rust between the two of you, and it was just swap sides each turn.
no, Space Wolves couldn't take a Lemon Rust back then.
They could back in the day.
No, this is before then. This
Really?
is second edition. Old men.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And then
the
they
next
allowed
type
them to take
of wolf on Fenris is the Thunder Wolf. The monstrous, infamous Thunder Wolf prowls the northernmost ice caps of Fenris, where they are considered the apex predator, and make their lairs in the fabled mountain of the Maelstrom. Shout out to Huron Blackheart. Their anatomy has more in common with the Terran rhinoceroid than a normal canine. They are capable of reaching as much as 8 feet in height at the shoulder. Their shaggy coat of rough fur is as tough as matted steel wire, and their jutting jaws so strong that they are able to chew through steel. Recovered Thunderwolf skulls show evidence of several rows of teeth in perpetual growth, allowing those that are lost in violent kills to be quickly replaced. They are solitary creatures and usually attack each other on sight. Their primary food animals are the giant bear, the ice troll, and the Fenrisian mastodon, although they will devour any creatures that trespass upon their realm without hesitation. Rather than tracking their prey down over time like their smaller cousins, Thunderwolves bear down upon their victims in a terrifying charge, snatching up their prey in their maw and tearing its head off. Many Fenrisians venerate the Thunderwolf as a spiritual totem, but only the Space Wolves have the constitution to hunt these creatures down. The practice of hunting down and breaking in Thunderwolves is a sort of initiation ritual into the upper echelons of the Wolf Guard. These are used in the near-mythical Thunderwolf cavalry, and are often augmented with adamantium jaws, bionics, and black-jointed metal limbs that end in razor-sharp blades. The havoc that these creatures are capable of wreaking is said to be startling to even the hardened veteran. They are basically hairy wolf sharks. They're solitary. They have multiple rows of teeth.
Yeah.
Occasionally, you have Scandinavian people jumping on top of them. They're basically great white sharks, but hairy and on the land.
Right.
That is terrifying. You were terrified about ice sharks earlier.
I was going to say, you've added a whole different level of fear to the Thunderwolf. I was just like, hang on a second. No. Now, imagine the poor Chaos cultist who signed up just to not to do anything other than to avoid the oppression of the Imperium. It's like, yeah, blood for the blood god. I don't know. I think I worship Slanesh or something. I don't know. I'd say the phrase and I shoot my gun. That's it. And then out of the shadows comes this howling monster accompanied by Fenrisian wolves. And you're like, okay, I don't want to fight the big howling space wolf. I'll avoid him. And then the land wolf shark hits the buddy standing next to you. And you're just like, I'll fight the dude in baby blue armor, thanks. Because I think there is zero chance of me surviving, but that is a better chance of survival than the space wolf land shark.
The land shark then just bites your legs off and leaves you there. It just looks at you, and then in perfect English, no one will ever believe you, and walks off.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like it knows what it's doing. It hurts you more so than does anything else to you. Like, I could survive this, but I don't want to. Thank you very much, you horrendous creature that has been brought onto my planet. Blood for the blood god.
Blood for the blood god. So firstly, we have two sort of named Thunderwolves. So we have two, from my knowledge, named Thunderwolves. This is going back to, I think, like my 8th or 9th edition codex.
Yeah, right.
There's Ice Tooth, and he is the Thunderwolf of Lord Harold Deathwolf.
I think he went on to be in like shows like CSI and things like that. Is that ice? Oh no, that's iced tea. Sorry, my bad.
Very similar. And there is Fangia, who was the mount of a Canis Wolfborn.
Who exists?
Was
still?
also on CSI Fenris.
Yeah.
They just go somewhere. It's like, what did they die of? Not enough faith in the Emperor.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the answer to everything, and then purge
Case
the village
closed.
around them. Yeah.
Any survivors will be purged. And then it's like, wait, what?
That's gold. There is, I actually, if you think there's a few more named Thunderwolves actually. Unless are you finished?
No, I genuinely couldn't think of anything else.
Oh,
Any
okay.
others?
There is Tirnak and Fenrir, which are the Space Wolves of Logan Grimnar. So they used to pull his chariot, which, less said the best. But
I liked Santa. I liked Grimnar Claus.
Grimnar Claws. Okay.
I think it was great. It reminded me, like, you see the paintings of like the Scythian chariots and that sort of thing. I think it was great. Or the like the Great Heathen Army when the sort of against in England and that sort of thing. Like, I think they were great. But
look,
I know a lot of people didn't like it. I think it was a cool model.
Right. Yeah, this is why you like cats. Right. Anyway, they are also now on his base, so they're part of his makeup now. So.
Oh, cool! Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, they're great looking examples of Thunderwolves. I think I wouldn't say the Thunderwolves themselves have become dated in terms of the miniatures, but that fear and the ferocity that you're talking about, I think is very well exemplified in those models that you see on Logan Grimnar's brace. I know that the Canis Wolfborn Thunderwolf was big and imposing, but just it lacked that menacing edge. And the actual Thunderwolf cavalry, they're pretty much identical to the to what you see on Logan Grimnar's base, but I think they looked a little bit too lithe and a little bit too athletic, whereas the way that they're described, they are a battering ram of teeth, So I think those miniatures are really cool and represent the most modern iteration of a dog that we've seen in the 41st millennium, and that Space Marine scaled dog.
Did the Thunderwolf cavalry get new models with the Primaris?
They did not. No, they didn't. They didn't make the cut.
Which proves that Firstborn Marines are tougher than Primaris, because not a single Primaris Marine has yet tamed a Thunderwolf.
Oh, they have. They just kill them. That's the problem. They're too good at taming.
Too good at taming. Although, no, Logan Grimnar has two of them.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, he would have done that back when he was a regular.
A regular. So just
Like
not an enhanced, not an advanced, just
Not
a
a
regular.
not a Primaris, just like
yeah,
OG,
as I said,
OG
enhanced
triple
and
OG. Yeah, how it is.
But no, I know definitely amongst the Space Wolf players, I know that there was a lot of angst about that, about the Thunderwolves not making it, Canis not making it, and the what did they call it? The Storm Surge or whatever it was called. Logan Grimnar's boat.
The space boat.
Space boat, yes, that didn't make it either. So there's two particular Space Wolf players I'm thinking of who were just like, hang on, it's like 80% of my army. What have you done, sir? So
I have Thunderwolf cavalry here somewhere.
Why?
All I know is I think I bought them for I wanted the Space Wolf bits for Red Corsairs.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Do you know what they would be really cool as? Chaos Cavalry.
Yeah. Yeah,
they
I'll
would be.
get that in my next codex, I hope. Nathan, so that is basically all of the Imperial dogs. That's in the dogs of the Imperium. Mike, is that enough for you yet? Have you got enough blood out of the stone that is my heart?
I want a correction, folks. Please find more dogs. Please find more dogs. I really want to see them. And then
So
we'll just do more episodes on dogs.
yeah, well, we've done. We've got 30 minutes of silence left after this, or Nathan, you can read this one here because I know you're gonna love this one. We're stepping away from the Imperium, folks. Let's talk about some other dogs.
Oh, all right. So just a little peek behind the curtain here, folks. I was told not to review any of this episode. And as we would go through, I would get little surprises. So I haven't really done much research on how many dogs there are out in the Imperium. So that's why I'm saying please give us more. But these are a favourite of mine, actually. These are the flesh hounds of Khorne. These
I was
canine...
annoyed you mentioned them earlier. I'm like, shut up.
These canine demons exist to hunt down the enemies of Khorne. They are tireless predators that possess a crimson skin and durable mesh armour, massive claws and teeth, as well as amazing speed. Each flesh hound is larger than a fully armoured space marine and is capable of outrunning a horse at full gallop. Each flesh hound has a collar of Khorne growing out of its neck. These protect the demon from psychic attacks, making them highly efficient against psykers. Chaos forces often use them to track down and eliminate specific targets such as enemy commanders or hidden foes. Now, there's a great bit of literature, and I'm just trying to think, maybe it was about Karanak or it was just about the flesh hounds in general, but basically once they'd been targeted, once this unit or character had been targeted, they can hear the howling constantly. They can hear the howling of the flesh hounds. And no matter where they go on the battlefield, or, they then fall back into their encampment and so forth, and they can hear this continuous howling. And eventually, I'm pretty sure it's about Karanak, and who I should have mentioned is like a special character style flesh hound, who eventually kills the character that had been stalked. But it's just the terror and the fear of knowing that your fate is sealed. There's no shimmying around it. There's no getting out of it. There's no fighting your way out of it because these demon hounds are coming for you. But I did mention Karanak, so I probably should mention him as well.
Well, all three of them, really. Karanak has 3 whopping big heads. Yeah, so Karanak is a demonic flesh hound who is the incarnation of Khorne's vengeance against those who insult Khorne's pride, warriors that break Khorne's creed, and cowards that refuse to shed blood. In fact, when Karanak goes on a hunt, they will actually hunt down their prey, capture them, and then drag them back to the brass throne of Khorne, where Khorne will actually take the skull, and the rest of the body is then thrown down at the foot of his throne, and Karanak's 3 heads consume the flesh of the being that they've dragged back to their master.
Yeah, right. Wow. That's cool.
That is terrifying. Karanak also, obviously, being a demon of Khorne, exists within the fantasy and Age of Sigmar realms as well. There's a cool little thing about what you said about Karanak there. Each of his heads works in a different way, and they track their target, because once... Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's the hunting hound of Khorne. Khorne will itself send Karanak out to find a target. So the first head tracks their quarry through space. The second tracks them through time. And the third actually tracks their target's thoughts and feelings, and actually finds them through dreamscapes and delusions.
Right, wow.
For a being that goes against magic and the arcane so well, Khorne utilizes some very cool sort of warp craft. If you know what I mean.
I like that. He's like, it's not it's like the Space Wolf saying we don't use warp energy. We draw our energy from Fenris. So for those who don't know, the Space Wolves are like, we're anti-psyker, blah blah blah. We hate psychers, rah, 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 all this nonsense. Well, not hate psychers, but they
We don't trust them.
We don't trust them. And after the Edict of Nicaea, where they're like, no, we'll just continue using our wolf priests because our wolf priests don't draw their energy from the warp, they draw it from Fenris. And it's like, that's the same thinking that Khorne's doing. He's like, I'm not using magic. I'm just using warp shenanigans. And warp shenanigans aren't warp magic.
I don't remember who said it, but like Khorne loves a loophole. Khorne doesn't believe in magic, but he loves magic weapons. He loves enchanted armor. Another cool thing about Karanak is when they are tracking someone, they're obviously going through space and time, right? They're going through the warp, they're breaching through into the materium.
Yep, but just mind you, using space and time, Karanak's probably a Time Lord, so just continue with your train of thought.
So obviously Karanak gets onto the brass TARDIS and goes where their target is. But the level of emotion and hatred and determination that Karanak's various heads produce, it attracts other demons of Khorne. So, packs of beasts, juggernauts, bloodletters, other flesh hounds of Khorne will actually be attracted to Karanak to take part in the hunt, but none of them would ever get in his way and risk taking his kill. Like it's genuinely insane what this dog can do.
It is the Bolt of the 40k universe. You remember Bolt the dog?
Yes, it is.
He's just Bolt the dog in another namesake. Now, let me ask you very quickly. You mentioned juggernauts there. I haven't seen the rest of the list. Do they get a mention? Are they classified as dogs?
Who?
Juggernauts.
Absolutely not.
Oh, they got little tails.
They're rhinos.
No. Space Marines don't drive in them. What are you talking about? Yes. Well, okay.
Primaris Marines don't, no.
Surely then, you've included a Beast of Nurgle in the list.
Absolutely not.
That is a dog. A Beast of
slug
Nurgle.
monster.
No, it is a dog. It just let me.
It's my list.
Your list is wrong. If you don't have a Beast of Nurgle is a Nurgle dog. It just runs around the battlefield, just wants to lick things. It just plays, it like gobbles up a Nurgling and then spits it out. It's just having a laugh.
You've described every toddler. The next on the list is actually another demonic creature, though. Gorehounds are even larger and more vicious form of flesh hounds, which can be found in many of their packs. These demons are slavering beasts of pure aggression that have dominated their fleshhound kin throughout long centuries of challenges. The roar of gorehounds is so redolent with rage that it causes their prey to burst into flames. The scent of the burning flesh will then drive the rest of the fleshhound pack to even greater heights of fury. The redemption wishes it could do this. Gang idea. A redemption priest who, in broken prayers to the Emperor, has somehow summoned a gorehound who has immediately, done this, big rage thing and has burned the gang but not killed them.
Oh, yeah.
So they
they
bind themselves back in, burned cloth and that sort of thing. And they're covering, the burned skin. And you'd call them probably something super original like the burned, or or the burning fury of whatever the leader's name is.
Or you could
Billy.
call them the third degree.
The third degree. Oh, I love it. The third degree, and you'd run them as a sort of like one of the sort of outcast gangs built around the hound, because the hound would be the leader.
Yeah.
It's that doggy crime boss we talked about before,
It's
except
the-
this
yeah.
one is a doggy crime boss for corn.
Yeah. And no, what I could see happening from this is that the dog has burnt them. They've managed to, but it's not necessarily hunting them. It's not hunting a particular thing from them. So as they begin to worship it, as they begin to, venerate it, it begins to, I don't know, maybe it finds a different target, but at the same time, it even says the scent of burning flesh will then drive the rest of the flesh hound pack to even greater heights of fury. So there are demons still coming for this gang, and that is their perpetual fight. They're constantly fighting against other demons, and the gorehound is just become like the alpha within this small area, so it's killing off the other demons as well.
Yeah.
Saying, this is my territory, and these little, burned nuggets that I've got with me, they're my nuggets. You're not getting a single one of them. Yes.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Well, almost gives sentience to the dog. The gorehound's just like, yes, is absolutely on. So the gorehounds, I assume, are probably like a champion style thing for a fleshhound unit. Yeah, righto.
Much like the cyber wolves are for the Fenrisian wolves, the gorehounds are basically just bigger, tougher versions of the basic unit, and then they would obviously all form a pack around Karanak.
Yeah.
Because in that hierarchy, Karanak is what you would call a big dog.
Yeah, he'd be the alpha dog.
He'd be the alpha dog.
Yes, but mind you, I did want to say something about the Fenrisian rules. I really found them quite disappointing when I first saw the miniatures of them, because I expected Space Wolf orientated beasts to be just like quite large, like almost too big. Do you know what I mean? And so when you look at the Fenrisian wolves and the tiny little upgrade the pack leader has and so forth, it's sort of like, I get it, but I don't know. I just expected something bigger, larger. Like the hard case cyber mastiffs look so much more intimidating than a Fenrisian wolf.
But I think that's a misconception, that it's almost like, the wolves are just constantly going into battle and being, shot at, and they get parts of them repaired and replaced in that. A lot of them would basically, I can just imagine, so we talked about it before, where Space Wolves will go out and actually fight Fenrisian wolves and attempt to kill the alpha. Because if you kill the alpha, you take over the pack.
Yeah.
And you need to remember, at the end of the day, a lot of these things, they are just wolves. They are just big wolves. And if you shoot a wolf with plasma, it's not just going to burn it, it's going to blow up the wolf.
Yeah,
So
I don't know. I just think they should have been
I think
bigger.
a lot of them are going to... I don't think a lot of them are going to have a lot of combat experience in that respect. But there's there's 3 of them that come with the Wolfguard head takers. They are much larger.
Actually, yeah, that's a more recent...
It's a modern version
look of them.
instead of the Fenrisian wolves, yeah. Those Fenrisian wolves have been out, I think, about 10 years now.
Yeah, you're right. They have been out for quite a while, and I guess when you look at the newer versions...
I've just looked them up here. These ones, the old ones are from 2011, dude.
Yeah, right. So
Yeah.
the newer stuff that you see with the head takers, there's a lot more ferocity to them. They're a bit larger. Like they sort of look like if they were to run down a guardsman, that guardsman is in all manner of trouble. Like,
Yes.
pack it up, pack it in, you're done for, son. Yeah, righto. All right,
They've also got like the little they've got cables underneath their fur. They've got like data ports, not data ports, but like
USB
metallic,
ports.
ports and like sort of accoutrements on the legs and that sort of thing.
Actually, I think they do all have a USB-C port on them. So
Yeah.
I think the Space Wolves can charge their power weapons off the back of the dog. Yeah, it's clever.
The Space Wolves aren't going to get in trouble for charging them in Europe.
Exactly.
So
Right.
I'm gonna get you to scroll down to the next one there because we're moving away from the demonic, folks.
We're getting worse with the dogs, just to let you know. Now we're dealing with Xenos dogs, which, are they dogs? No. They are things that just haven't been killed yet. Right. A chimera. Oh, look, it's called a chimera. Not even a dog. It's a chimera. It's a tank. It's a tank, isn't it?
No.
Is it a tank?
No.
Ah, okay, you're a liar. The chimera are warp beasts born from the stuff of a demon world. They coalesce around vivid nightmares into terrifying forms of long-fanged, many-eyed, sinewy cat-like beasts. Do not sneak cats into our podcast.
They are cat-like, but they are clearly a canid.
I'm sorry, Mike. He's trying to sneak a cat into here. We're just going to let this one pass. Dark Elder Beastmasters entered Dream Quests in order to hunt down Chimera in the spirit realm and draw packs of them back into real space. They then enslave them as half-real nightmares that can wreak utter havoc upon the battlefield before fading away like mist. Chimera are utilised by some within the forces of chaos as they are useful for tracking down psychers or anything else with a warp taint. As they exist in a state of half immaterial, half material, they are useful at fighting Sisters of Silence. Ooh, that's cool. That's really cool. Imagine that, the old Sister of Silence going, aha, you can't see me. Actually, naughty dog can. Naughty cat-like dog can.
So, I knew you were going to bring up the fact it mentioned they were cat-like. But the reason I originally included these is because back in 3rd edition, Chimerae weren't actually known as Chimerae. They were known as warp beasts. And the models back then were actually much more dog-like. The Chimerae also hunt in packs as opposed to sort of the by themselves. I was about to say lone wolf style of cats, as opposed to sort of single sort of hunters. Though
Oh yeah,
said,
like lion
like
prides.
lions.
Lions.
That's
But,
not
they don't
it's
have
not a
that.
pride of Chimerae, though. It would be a pack of Chimerae.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yep. Don't sneak cats into the podcast. It's this man has asked you to do something. He has spitefully joined us in our cause, and you are trying to sneak a cat into here. It's classic cat-like behaviour. Classic cat owner-like behaviour as well. It's not good, mate. It's not good at all. But yes, I do remember them being dog-like back in their first iteration, and when they were re-released, it was like, ooh, somebody hurt that designer because the re-release of the model was just so, like, I don't know, visceral, so like beast-like.
It looks like someone has skinned like a mastiff.
Yep.
Put a weird multi-eyed cat skull on the front of it. Put claw wings on the shoulders, and then tiny little T-Rex claws on the front, and then given it a weird like bone tail. Oh, and then a tongue that comes literally out of my worst nightmares.
Yeah. Exactly. Beautiful miniature, though. Like, fantastic.
Oh, beautiful.
You captured the idea of what the warp is so fantastically. But I guess, we have talked about dogs being across the Imperium and what they look like for humanity. And obviously we make that connection and we understand that connection because we ourselves use dogs in our modern world.
Mm.
But when we're talking about filthy Xenos using them as well, there is obviously something there that they're seeing, and they may not refer to it as a dog or anything canine related, but it is their equivalent of a dog, and that's why sometimes because it's the equivalent of a dog, it gets mixed up as a cat-like beast.
I just love the fact that they're the Beastmasters are just like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get a bunch of dogs, do horrible things. Because they're not even really dogs. They're not true demons. They're just, they're warp creatures. They're sort of hunters from within the warp itself. Like, I love that about them. I just think they're neat, for lack of a better term. They're horrifying, and they will forever live within my nightmares, but they're just so neat.
They are very cool. I really, this idea that they can hunt down a sister of, or were useful for fighting Sisters of Silence, I think is really cool. And the forces of chaos using them as well, I think is really, really awesome. So you can imagine, I can imagine Thousand Suns using them. You know, they would become these weird sort of warp entities that could betray the signature that the Thousand Suns would give off of, you know, that psychic potential. And these things would just be the opposite of that. And yeah, I've never seen them in that environment, in being used as a force of chaos. I think they're really cool for that.
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, brilliant. I sort of chaos, using them as chaos hounds seems to like be an almost underrating them. You know what I mean?
I'd love to see a gang of like a Chaos Hellot gang. We're using these to hunt down rogue psychers in the Underhive to bring them back to their base, so their main psyker could try and consume their essence in an attempt to increase their own psychic potential. You can just imagine they've managed to reach into the warp and pull one of these beasts out, and then, you know, one by one, they start pulling more and more through, and they release them into the Underhive. Because they've got those little grabber claws. They grab them, and then they just drag them, kicking and screaming, back to the base. Yeah, that's horrifying.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying. But I could almost see that, like, the psyker hasn't done this of their own volition. They've got a demon whispering to them. A demon just saying, go for these, find these things, and they will help us grow. And the demon's just still thinking, I can get material realm. I could come into real space with enough manifestation here.
You know, it would be a great dramatis personae.
Yeah.
A Drukhari Beastmaster who's stranded on Necromunda with a pair of these chimerae. Yeah,
that would be brilliant. And is it like a specialist psyker hunter? She just goes in and just, if the enemy's using a psyker, call me and I will ruin them so badly that they will never ever go near a psyker ever again in their existence. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah. No, wow. Okay. Even though they're cats, I do like them. They're cool. Are you okay?
I'm just thinking about how I could actually run that. I'm thinking, because the Beastmasters have the hoverboards, kind of like the Neotechs. But anyway, no, this isn't how I'm going to make a cool dramatis personae idea. We got some more Xenos doggos coming at you here, Nate. I personally love these ones. The Kroot Hound is an evolutionary dead end of the Kroot, like all dogs. They are a quadrupedal pack hunter, and they're often utilized by the Kroot for hunting and in war. They are highly intelligent creatures, able to understand orders, but highly temperamental, prone to attacking their keepers. They are the size of a large dog, with a series of sensory ganglia running along their spine. They have wiry frames, just like the Kroot themselves, and possess a toughness that belies their apparent fragility. Facially, Kroot hounds are ugly beasts, sharing the underbite beak of the carnivores. Kroot hounds serve many functions within Kroot society. They serve as watch beasts in Kroot settlements. In this role, they are able to detect the approach of even the stealthiest foe through a combination of sensory input gathered by the ganglia along their backs. Should any creature other than one of the Kroot genus approach, the Kroot hounds will emit a fearful shrieking and snarling, sufficient to deter most infiltrators from pressing on. When accompanied by a handler, The crude hounds can be trained to emit low sounds that do not alert the intruder to discovery, allowing the crude to step up and spring an ambush on their foe. Crude hounds are awesome. Everything about this so far is absolutely perfect. Can you imagine running like a when it's like the patrol scenarios where you've got the guards and they're turning in different directions?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Can you imagine using that ability with like crude hounds?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool, actually. Yes. Yeah, and then, like, you'd give them bonuses because they are patrol dogs and so forth. So maybe, do you know how normally your opponent gets to move one and then you get to move one? But
Yeah.
they wouldn't be allowed to move the hounds. They could move everything else bar the hounds.
Everything but the hounds.
Yeah. They obviously have one massive flaw, a filthy Xenos. But I think a crude hound is pretty much identical to what we're talking about in terms of the Imperial dog. Do you know what I mean? Like it does everything that you can imagine is needed from the Imperium, but just does it for a different race. So where, as I mentioned before, there is potential that you're looking at alien species or Xenos species, and you're saying that there's no equivalent, or there's no equivalent. Sorry, that there's an equivalent, but it's not overtly similar. It might be, as you say, like the Chimera or something else that is very, very close to a dog, but not quite. Whereas the crude hound is probably more like a dog than anything else, and probably enjoys belly rubs and the odd game of fetch and all manner of normal hound based behaviour.
Slap a prisoner on the butt and say, "Run that way."
Yeah, exactly.
But I love, so we know the Kroot, when they do their evolutionary stuff, they take on the attributes and the sort of the phenotypes, I think is the word I'm looking for, of the beings they consume. And to me, this just means that a bunch of Kroot consumed a bunch of dogs, and then they sort of devolved into Kroot hounds.
Right. I didn't see it as that, but that totally makes sense.
Because
Yeah.
I think it genuinely describes the fact that they have Kroot hounds because these particular kindreds consumed too many quadrupedal animals.
Right.
And so they've started going on all fours. They may have gone down into like a gait as opposed to a walk, and then they become sleeker. They have like heightened senses and that, but they lose that ability to sort of have higher thought and rational capability,
Yeah.
much like a dog.
Well, true. And, dogs can't look up either. That's very true. Nah, it's from Shaun of
No,
the Dead.
it's not.
It's from Shaun of the Dead. It's one of my favourite lines of the movie, that dogs can't look up. So I just imagine all the telltale signs is that there's Kroot that just can't look up. Just like, look at the enemy coming from the sky. Can't do it, boss.
Just
Sorry.
looking left to right. Like,
Yeah, just look, where are they? Where are they? Yeah, so I really like that idea. And hopefully that is how they were. Well, how they got to that point, that it was dogs that they were consuming that has led them down that pathway, because that would make total sense as well, and it would be something that you could imagine the crew just going, okay, well, we're not doing that anymore. We're not consuming quadrupedal animals anymore. We need to stick to things that are of our own level of sentience. So, yeah. That's
eat more monkeys.
Eat more monkeys, yeah. Let's go eat some Eldar. Let's go eat some Necrons as well. We're a bit iron deficient. But there's another part to this. Do you want me to read the
Yes,
next?
I do.
Yes. They are also used to patrol the area around a Kroot camp. If there are no tower around, the Kroot sometimes set the hounds free in the knowledge that they will hunt as a pack, ambushing any they encounter. If there are Tau or other allies in the vicinity, the pack is accompanied by one or more Kroot handlers in order to avoid any unpleasant incidents. They also serve as guards for high-ranking Kroot, such as Shapers and Master Shapers. The handlers must be fleet of foot indeed to keep up with their charges, for the Kroot hounds are used to move swiftly around the flanks of the enemy and launch lightning-fast attacks upon exposed foes. When attacked by large numbers of Kroot hounds, even the largest of foes can be dragged down and killed. Many Imperial Guardsmen has faced execution from running away from them, which, rightly so, but understandably so, all at the same time.
Rightly so, but understandably so.
Yes, the Commissar would have gone, look, I got it, baby. I got to pop around in the back of your head, but look, I was running with you. So it's either you or me. It's not going to be me. So boom, boom, you dead.
They kind of remind me of the Velociraptors from the Jurassic Park movies.
Wow, I was trying to get an idea of how I could establish some sort of like connection with them, and that is a really good connection. Imagine like where you've got the packs of raptors where they're sitting at 5, 6s and stuff like this. I imagine these packs to number up to about 100 or so. Yeah, and just barnstorming. I was sort of thinking almost like Rough Riders going across a battlefield or something like that. But
Yes.
But I really like your idea of the raptor. They would stick low to the ground and just start like, it would almost be like a almost swarm-like type behaviour where they just swarm over the enemy, just ripping shreds out of them.
Oh, but not even that. Like, some of them would go for your legs. Some of them would get behind you. They'd be jumping up on you, like sort of pulling you. I can just imagine, like, even Marines and that. They'd be trying to grab your legs, trying to grab your wrists, trying to grab your arms and pull you down because eventually they're going to get through your armour.
Yeah. Well,
Guardsmen, okay, they're going to get through the cotton of your shirt. Nice one, mate.
Don't criticise the poor guardsman. He's about to get executed because he survives that thanks to the double layer of cotton and then runs away. But yeah, you're right. Like with a Marine, with a Sister of Battle, anything with a plate style of armour is going to get torn down. You know what I mean? You can even see something like an Ogren fighting one of these and it'd just be just a horrendous bloody mess of just constant scratching and biting, eventually just draining the soul and life out of this poor hulking mass.
Yes. Oh, yeah, you can just imagine Ogren sort of like trying to punch them away, but eventually they're going to get that one bite that just gets through and they're done.
Yeah, true. It's like it opens up the idea of like if there was dog packs fighting alongside the Imperium. Oh, like wolves, like the cyber wolves versus Kroot hounds. A Friday night special that would be. The two apex predators within that realm fighting against each other.
I've got to give it to the Kroot hounds though. If there are more Kroot hounds, I think they're just going to win on sheer numbers.
Yeah, it's quite possible. I think if you go up to like, say if it was Thunderwolves or something, you'd probably go, yeah, Thunderwolves will probably take it home. But against regular Fenrisian wolves, I think the Kroot hounds, I don't know, they've just got that nasty looking face on them as well. There's something about that huge underbite that just gives them that, they're almost dopey. Like, it's just...
They are very dopey.
Well, like, once you start chomping, I'm in trouble here. It's just because you're just not going to understand what else to do. You're just going to chomp, 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 yeah, and I'm done. And it even says it in there, like, where they take them out on patrols. Tau and other allies are like, well, if you're in the area, we need a handler. And if you don't see a handler, either start running or start shooting because it's going to get real busy real quick.
It is a bad day for everyone involved that isn't a Kroot. I'm sorry, friend.
Yeah.
Because it's like, are there any Tau around? No, they're all off planet. Why? All right, let's all go have a nap. Hounds, go have fun.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it'd be like. And then they forget about this one Pathfinder patrol. And that's it. Starts an incident where the ethereals come down and we're like, oh, but we're all one collective and happy race. But we do actually need to wipe everybody out in this settlement because at the end of the day, that's for the greater good, isn't it? Because you killed one of our patrols, so...
Yeah, well, and the hounds were eating it, and all of a sudden now the the crude hounds are trying to learn how to operate pulse weaponry.
Yeah, exactly. So for the greater good, kiss goodbye.
Well, we're about to move on to the last dog of the list. And in my opinion, it's probably the best dog in all of Warhammer 40k.
Before you start, I've read the first line of it. I'm embarrassed for you.
The Gyrinx, also the Gurnix, is a cat-like creature
There we go.
used by both human and Eldar psykers as a familiar, augmenting its user's psychic abilities. A Gyrinx resembles a large cat that can grow to as much as 1 meter in length and has a very thick and fluffy ginger or orange fur and bright blue eyes. There is, however, a subspecies called the Snow Gyrinx that has white fur. Now, Gyrinx are not intelligent per se, but do have an astounding ability to empathize with other creatures, forming a mental bond with their owner which is comparable to true friendship, much like all cat owners understand. This mental empathy is of great benefit to the creature's owner, whose own speed of thought and action are actually improved while the Gyrinx is in close proximity. What benefit the Gyrinx obtains from the relationship is unclear, but there is plainly some deep-seated need being fulfilled, because an ownerless Gyrinx will actively seek out and adopt another creature. Oddly enough, Gyrinx will often exhibit slow metabolic changes so that they can come to resemble their owner physically, temperamentally, and behaviourally. If a Gyrinx's owner dies, it will defend the body and eventually either run away or allow itself to be adopted by one of its former owner's friends or associates. It takes a period of several weeks to establish a complete relationship with the new owner, but it might be fewer if the old and new owners were close friends or relations. Obviously, these creatures are of great value and unlikely to be owned by ordinary people. Nice. Gyrinx are highly prized as pets by psychic inquisitors, rogue traders, and high-ranking members of the Adeptus Terra. Malevolent aliens such as Dark Eldar may also own Gyrinx, which become as nasty and vicious as their owners. On Necromunda, Gyrinx are among the psychic Xenos pets that are heavily restricted on the Hive world. As a result, only the most powerful and influential nobles are able to acquire and keep them. Of course, the Gyrinx sometimes escape from their owners and find their way into the hands of less savoury individuals. And it's also known that some Harlequin shadow seers will take on a Gyrinx as a companion. So I'm glad we managed to come on and discuss something so noble and so, I want to say, beautiful as the Gyrinx at the end of this episode here. It really, once again, gets us kicking off onto that positive upswing for the rest of season 3.
For all your reading there, all I really heard is that these sound like chew toys for Karanak. Is that what you're trying to get across? That these cat-like things that have got into our dog episode are really just there as little things to be thrown over to Karanak, or even quite an aggressive cyber mastiff, just to really hone the skills and sharpen the teeth. Is that what you're saying?
Like a psychically cunning chew toy. Is what you're saying.
Exactly. But Karanak would be fine.
I just figured Mike would appreciate us having the last entry in his episode to be something that really redeems the whole request. I love Gyrinx. I think they are the coolest little thing. I've never run one in a game. I really want to. In fact, I'm tempted to go and buy the Evrain model. because Ivrain has a Gyrinx on her model. It is called a Lorekeepers, and is a Gyrinx that is psychically bonded to the Inari leader.
Oh, yeah.
It serves as her familiar. The creature is actually a formidable hunter, capable of easily slaying lesser demons, and interestingly enough, is completely immune to the plagues of Nurgle.
Very interesting.
So, yeah.
Very, very interesting. So it could play quite nicely with a Nurgle dog.
I don't believe there are any Nurgle dogs.
There are Nurgle dogs. They're beasts of Nurgle.
I think I started referring to them as plague doggos at some point.
They really are. But yes, no, I do not appreciate a Gyrex or a Grinix being added to the end of the episode. It does not reflect the nature of what this episode is about. And I apologise not only to Mike, but the wider listener base.
I think that everyone's going to appreciate my little humorous and frankly well-timed and incredibly well-thought-of play by bringing in the superior animal and saving the episode.
You did say one thing that was wildly wrong there, humorous. Yeah, right, fair enough. Again, they are cat-like, so there is that. I guess there is a link, but you can't call them dogs, not at all. There's no.
They're definitely not dogs.
They're definitely not. They're what?
They are much better.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Well, let me ask you, ignoring that last read because it was painful and unnecessary, what is your favourite dog then?
Thunderwolf.
Thunderwolf? Yeah, right.
Thunderwolf.
Okay.
There's something about the concept of an enormous, hairy land shark that is just horrifying. Like, I would love to do a Goliath riding a Thunderwolf as like this sort of Conan the Barbarian style, just monster of a character.
Chain cleaver in each hand.
Oh, chain cleaver in each hand. Like, just absolute barbarian.
Yeah.
And, yeah, that would be sick.
That would be quite awesome, actually. Yeah, I'm very much down for that. That would look really, really cool. And then you have, I don't know, the Cyberwolf a little bit Goliath up as well. So it's enhancements.
With the Mohawk.
With the Mohawk, but it's enhancements. And the accoutrements are all just a little bit extra clunky, a little bit extra full on, you know.
Just hammered armor plating.
Yeah.
Real scuffed up paint job. Like, just a little bit crap. You know what I mean? Like, it's clearly being done by the gang as each injury is occurring.
Yeah, I think that would be really, really cool. And you could see it working as well. Do you know what I mean? And also the idea of a Thunderwolf being kept as a pet by, you know, a noble or something like that. And it's this thing that is treated not as a pet, but almost like an equal. But it just hovers around the back of the noble when business is getting a bit shady, a bit tight, when things need to come to the fore, and it's we're going to draw guns soon and start blazing. But at this point in time, my Thunderwolf is the ultimate level of threat within this room, and you can just imagine this hulking shadow of a thing.
Keeping it at the hideout.
Yep.
Where you're like captured, like they're capturing prisoners just to throw them into the pit.
Yeah.
Like, or it'd be kind of like Jabba's palace, where if you're negotiating with this gang leader and he doesn't like what you're saying, it's just like, just open the pit, you fall in, and it's just, you're about to be consumed by this enormous Thunderwolf. Like, there's nothing you can do. You just have to accept this.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what weapons you have or what armor. At the end of the day, you are at the proverbial creek, and you don't have a paddle, you don't have a canoe, you don't even have shoes or comfortable underwear.
And they would be given one last chance as they begin to see the shadow move, and just the faint like glimmer of like a red, as a little bit of light touches the Thunderbolt's eye, or maybe touches the cybernetic eye kicks on, or something like that, and give them one last chance. Are you going to cut the deal? No, I think I'll take my chances with the shadow. No, dead.
Perfect.
Yeah, right. That's a good favourite to have.
Yourself?
Oh, by far, it has to be Aximilian. Not only do I have the miniature, I loved painting it so much, and when I play games of 40k with it, it dies first time every time, but that's its role. But it's just it's so normal. It's so like of our world, of our modern time, that putting it into 40k, it should look out of place, but it doesn't. It ticks all the boxes, and it does it all well. And it's just a very simple, basic looking miniature that, would go well in any, D&D environment, any role play environment, any modern world environment, but it fits also quite comfortably and quite beautifully within 40k as well. So it's an absolute favourite of mine, that miniature, and unfortunately it dies every time when I take it, but he knows his place.
He knows his place. Well, here's one for you then. Of them all, what is your least favourite?
Out of everything we read?
Out of the dogs.
Out of the dog. Good thing you put in that stipulation, because
I saw where you were going.
The silly old Girix was definitely going to be right up there. I would probably say the Crude Hound.
Really?
Like I do like them, but if I had to have a least favourite, it would be the Crude Hound for me, just because I don't know. I feel like the role of what the Crude Hound brings to 40k, Necromunda, whatever the case might be, has already been established and achieved by the dogs that the Imperium use. And this is just a cheap Xenos knockoff, really.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Wow.
Do you have a least favourite? I'm assuming it's all dogs. So
I figured you were going to say Chimera.
No,
we
talked enough about it that it actually became really cool. So I was like, oh yeah. And then the fact that it can be used against Sisters of Silence, I'm like, oh yeah,
you're really loving it because of the anti-Sisters of Silence.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I'm going to be a little bit controversial here. I'm just going to say all dogs.
Yeah.
Except maybe the Flesh Hounds. Flesh Hounds are actually very cool, but Thunderbolts are amazing. No, my least favourite is probably the Crude Hounds.
Yeah.
They're amazing. I've never seen them on the table. But that being said, I haven't really played like 40k outside of sort of our immediate friendship group for quite a few years. None of us play Tau.
Yeah, exactly.
But I just haven't seen them as much. But yeah, okay.
Welcome back.
There's the dogs episode.
Yeah.
Season 3, baby. Like we said, it's all uphill from here, and we have some big episodes planned. We have some fun episodes planned. I really, really, really want to make that Beastmaster now. Just a guy hanging out in the Underhive with his two Chimera.
Yeah.
Hunts and Sisters of Silence.
Oh, just anything that can bend a spoon, you're in trouble.
Yeah. You are in so much trouble.
Yeah. Even if you physically bent the spoon, you're still in trouble.
Yeah. So I think we're going to say goodbye on this one, and I want you all to go out. I want you to buy a cat. I want you to love that cat, and I want you to know that you've made the correct decision and you've gotten the superior pet, no matter what.
No matter what sane people say, no matter what people who actually want to be adored and loved by their pet say. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
There's an old saying from where I'm from, like
Meow.
Grandpappy used to say to me.
Meow. Is that what?
Grandpappy used to say, he'd say, Spaniel, if you want to be a god, you get a dog. If you want to meet God, you get a cat. And that's it. That's my quote for the episode. This season's just going to be stuff my grandpappy said to me. Or grandpappy Spaniel.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and I'm already thoroughly disappointed. So it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
No. This is actually a quote. I think I've used this one before, but I'm going to use it again because it actually also fits for basically everything we've talked about today. Loyalty is a sadly lacking trait these days. Every Juve and their pet rat thinks they can shoot you in the back if it means a few more scrip to line their pockets. This is why I trust old Face Ripper here with my life. You can't ask for a better friend than a cyber mastiff. He's certainly more reliable than you bunch of misfits, and given the chance, he'll rip your face right off for me. You remember that. That's Maida Jones of the Sons of Iron of House Orluck. And that was our latest episode of the Underhive Lorekeepers podcast. I am Spamiel, and on behalf of the Lorekeeper team, thank you for listening. Please follow us on our social media pages available in the show notes, and don't forget to follow and review us on your preferred podcast platform. As always, if you have questions, complaints, corrections, or if you've just discovered the song by Baha Men Who Let the Dogs Out, please reach out to us at underhivelorekeepers@gmail.com. Cats are better. Thanks.